I'm about to take this KLR650 for a little spin. How do I even grab it to get it off the center stand? That's a little odd. No big grab rail. Let's start this. This is 2017, but it still uses a carb and a petcock. I mean, that is antiquated. I like that the rear shock is neon green, and it's a very tall bike. So, all right, let's take this thing for a spin. Oh, all right. So a little background about this bike. It's a 2017 KLR650. I believe that the last year for the KLR, or at least the carb version of the KLR, was 2019. So it wasn't in production for about 2 years. We're gonna stop up ahead. I just want to look at it really quick, but it's a really kind of fun bike. I've had a 99 KLR650 before. I really don't like the way the brakes are set up on this, but I'm gonna have to change it a little bit. It's a fun bike, and this one sounds great with the aftermarket exhaust. So just some stats for you. This is probably one of the last of the KLR650, so this is a newer style than I had, but it's really antique when it comes to things, and I think that's the appeal of this bike, that it's antique. It's very old. Every component about it is old. Sure, it's got new handlebars and stuff, but think about it. This is 2017. It's carbureted in 2017. 2017, isn't that crazy? It's a carbureted bike from 2017. I mean, that's hard to get. That's really difficult to pull off. I'm gonna go here. I have knobbies, so I'm not really interested in like speeding too much, but it sounds awesome. And it's a 5-speed manual transmission with a chain. And you know what that means is that basically it's very well spread. Everybody's going to the double yellow. What's up with that? It's very well spread out. You know, the ST1300 I had, ST1100 were also 5-speed. Just because there's a 6-speed doesn't really mean that you need 6 speeds, but it would be nice. I don't know if the new KLR650s are 6-speed. I don't think so. Everybody likes the KLR650. I don't know a lot of people that think this bike is bad. I think people do appreciate its honesty. You know, it's like one of these bikes that's like the most basic of all. One of the things I don't like about the bike right away is that the shifting is really clunky, and I wonder if there's something wrong with it. But when I shift, it's like vague. There's no clear indication of which gear you're shifting. You just gotta know where the gears are, but it's kind of like a mushy gearbox. I don't remember my KLR's transmission. And of course, this is a chain-driven bike, which is what you would expect. Let's pull into here and just look over the bike a little bit. You can see there's snow piled up everywhere. Alright, I'm going to put it on the center stand. One thing I noticed is that I have to lube this kickstand. This kickstand is massive. Alright, and that's ice on the floor there, so this is actually the good bike for going around ice. Look at this. That's the 2017 KLR 650. This massive kickstand is kind of cool. It comes out over the swing arm so it doesn't rub the swing arm. And look at these foot pegs. I'm going to turn the bike off. Yeah, let's just look around the... I'm gonna put my gloves on, it's freezing out. This is ice. I shouldn't go into the wetness. Yeah, look at this. This is... okay. Very dangerous out today. And look at that rear wheel. That's spoked, so that means that you could go off-road and it's a lot stronger. I'm not really into too much the spokes, just because I don't really do a lot of off-road riding. A little protection here for the rear brake master cylinder reservoir. You got foot pegs for your passenger, but the seat for the back is relatively comfortable for a passenger, but when you compare it to other bikes like the klr650, it's much wider, it's a little bit longer, and I believe it's better. You know, I usually like to compare the bike to the V-Strom because the V-Strom gives you such a good bang for the buck. This thing is actually more expensive than the V-Strom I had. It's much newer, but the technology on it is much older. So my V-Strom was a 2006. This is a 2017, so quite a big difference in age, but yet this one is much less advanced than the V-Strom. And there are certain things that I do like on the V-Strom. The fuel injection, I like the comfort, I like the aerodynamic aspect of the V-Strom. It's a much better highway bike. But this has got the off-road capability, much more off-road capability than the V-Strom. You know, I kind of think that they should really blend the klr650 more with the V-Strom, but they never do. They do have like a V-Strom Adventure now with spoke wheels, but it's still the same size for the front wheel, and you really can't have that. So look at that front wheel. The front wheel is a clear advantage over the V-Strom. It's a 21-inch front wheel, and it's really good to have if you're riding off-road in any trail. But the engine on this, look at that shock. It's I think it's an aftermarket shock. This is where the battery goes. Very, very typical to these sort of bikes to have the battery there. You know, on the Tenere they put it on one side, which I don't really like. So this is the engine, of course. You have your sprocket, very easy to access with a really good protector. It's the starter. That's so simple to get, and of course it's one single cylinder, so it's very easy to maintain, and it's a thumper, so it does sound really good. It's liquid cooled, so it's got a fan and shroud here. You can see it's been laid down, but not too bad. You know, it's like they're still using petcocks in 2017. That's incredible. I don't think a lot of people know that you have to switch to reserve when you're riding around. There's your seat lock right there, which I don't know too many people that use them, but this whole style of KLR has been redesigned for 2017. I don't remember when the new KLR was designed. This is the new style. I had the old style, which I kind of like too. You know, this is probably one of the better bikes to escape some sort of like zombie apocalypse or perhaps COVID apocalypse. It is very easy to maintain, very simple, dead reliable. I've seen these with hundreds of thousands of miles. Usually by the time they get to 80 to 100,000 miles, they need some sort of top-end refresh, but you know, there's a reason why guys get this, and they just ride them to like Argentina from Alaska. I mean, it's a very popular bike for budget adventurers, and there is a segment of the population that loves the KLR. The simplicity, the cheapness, which is the same sort of audience that you'd expect from the V-Strom people that get them for adventures. It's the same thing with the Teneres. The Teneres are a little bit more rich, but it's the same type of people. It's like the people that would never buy a GS. Often you'll see klr650s with BMW badges as jokes, because you know this klr650 is more reliable than a BMW. Right over here, of course, you have your oil, and look at this. You don't see this very much. That's where your oil filter is. Really amazing. And your oil sight glass, it's good at Kawasaki did give you an oil side glass. It is time for me to change it. You do have the warp sort of rotor for the front and the rear. There's the carburetor. This is the air box, and it's got an aftermarket FMF exhaust that sounds really good, and it comes with a top box, which is very useful. And now this is something I'm going to be changing. Some people like the handlebars to be a little bit more aggressive. This owner has the levers like slightly down, and it's also bent as well, so I'll see if I can replace it. This one's got heated grips, which is good. You control it by here. They work very well. He's got the 12 volt cigarette lighter. It's got the cross brace. This is like a weird thing for phones or something. And this is your dash. Very simple. You have a tach, you have your speedo, odometer and trip, and then heat, temperature for the engine. And then you have your neutral button, high beam, turn signals, no fuel gauge. Kawasaki did this with the Ninja 250 since the 80s, and then in the new design they put like a fuel gauge. And I was actually expecting to have the fuel gauge on this design because it is a simple thing, Kawasaki. You could have done it. You don't have to be so ultra cheap. Not having a fuel gauge in 2017 is ridiculous. You know, but then again, all of these fuel gauges on motorcycles seem to be terrible, so what's the point? The front has been completely redesigned. It looks very different than the single headlight Kawasaki klr650, but I really like how it looks. You know, it's got these fork gaiters, and it looks kind of cool. I like the fork gaiter style. It keeps your forks, and these are conventional forks. They're a little bit different than the forks on the early gen. Oh, and also you have, this one's a plastic bash guard, which is more than enough. I don't know why guys get aluminum bash guards and carbon. Plastic is really all you need. One of the downsides of the klr650 is that the rotors in the front, the braking is very mushy. This one actually seems to be pretty decent, but I'm having a hard time. Kind of like, I don't like the way the handlebars position. I realize now that I'm just going to undo this and just kind of twist the handlebar slightly this way, because I like my levers to be a little bit more horizontal. All of that said about the klr650, let's take it for a spin. Today is not a good day. You can notice that all the snow that is melting is leaving black ice on the road. Here's an issue. I think because I think the person that had this might have removed the grab bar, maybe. It's a little bit on the difficult side to kind of push onto the ground. Another thing that's a little bit difficult is this kickstand is a little bit difficult to kind of push out when you stop. So let's start this thing. That's good. It's still warm. Normally these bikes are very cold-blooded, but not cold-blooded enough that you can't get on and do your thing. So you see, like, to put it down, you have to get back onto that major part of the kickstand. Alright, Squids, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.
Thank you for watching my film. I hope you like. Dziękuję.